Across thousands of years of human mythology and decades of modern encounter reports, one highly specific figure appears repeatedly: a tall, radiant humanoid with fair Nordic features, often glowing with an ethereal light, and described by witnesses as an angelic being. Detailed accounts from classified leaks and channeled texts categorize these beings as a highly evolved biological civilization, a group of refugees possessing a history and physical lineage as concrete as our own. Driven from the Lyran-Orion Wars millions of years ago, they fled their original systems in colossal arcs. They sought a remote corner of the galaxy, where they could rebuild their society away from the reach of the empires that destroyed their home. They established a new haven in the Seven Sisters, 440,000 light-years from Earth. Because the system was desolate, they focused their technological advancement on interdimensional travel, eventually mastered the ability to shift their entire civilization into the fifth dimension to remain invisible to hostile reptilian forces. To survive the varying planetary conditions of their new home, the original refugees biologically adapted. Their single lineage fractured along 4 distinct evolutionary paths: the Ahil, the Tal, the Nor, and eventually the Dekorhu. Recognizing them as traumatized biological refugees provides the context necessary to understand their complex, ongoing geopolitical agenda regarding Earth. The Ahil faction settled the planet Era, establishing the cultural and pacifist center of their civilization. They live in advanced floating sky cities, dedicating their extremely long lives to the cultivation of art, ethereal music, and inner peace. Due to high environmental photosensitivity on their planet, the Ahil experience physical reality deeply. While they possess advanced artificial life codes for conception, they prefer a highly sensual, frequency-based approach to reproduction, linking physical touch directly to spiritual consciousness. Their cousin race, the Tal, reside on the administrative planet Timar and operate under an entirely different philosophy. They maintain a strict, highly ascetic lifestyle, projecting an outward coldness that heavily contrasts with the emotional openness of the Ahil. This emotional detachment serves a specific operational purpose. The Tal handle the civilization's military operations, working covertly in the background to fight aggressive, lower-frequency threats, like the reptilian Chiakar Empire. The Pleiadians survive by maintaining this deliberate division of labor. One half of their society is free to cultivate deep spiritual arts, protected by the ruthless galactic defense maintained by the other. The physical limits of Pleiadian biology are evident in the Nor faction. Reaching up to 8 feet in height and living up to 700,000 years, they suffer from a tragic genetic anomaly. Their internal organs fail to keep pace with their body's growth, leading to premature heart failure. Historically, Nor explorers maintained a strong physical presence on our planet. They established colonies across ancient Scandinavia, directly seeding the genetics and distinct physical traits of Earth's Nordic populations. The Nor lineage eventually reached an absolute evolutionary peak through an offshoot group known as the Dekorhu. By interacting with the specific crystalline structure and plasmic field of their home planet, they transfigured their molecular structure into 9th-density geometric light beings. This radical divergence, from failing physical hearts to immortal light forms, shows how environmental and technological choices dictate their evolutionary path. For some factions, the biological body remains a fragile burden, while for others, it has been successfully exchanged for pure energy. Today, the Pleiadians operate as key members of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Their primary objective is establishing defensive alliances to protect developing planets from the hostile expansion of the Chiakar Empire. Their investment in humanity spans millennia. After the catastrophic destruction of Maldek, a planet that once orbited between Mars and Venus, Pleiadian scientists utilized quantum mechanics alongside the Anunnaki to seed Earth with the lost genetics of those destroyed civilizations. Their most direct modern intervention occurred in 1954, when an Arahel scientist named Thor traveled to Washington, D.C. to initiate formal contact with the United States government. Thor approached President Dwight D. Eisenhower with a specific proposition. He offered to share hyper-advanced hyperspace technology and assist in the rapid elevation of human consciousness, in exchange for total global disarmament and the immediate cessation of all terrestrial wars. The U.S. government rejected the offer. Human leadership chose instead to entertain the deceptive promises of rival galactic empires, offering weapons technology. The failure of the 1954 summit made one thing abundantly clear. Earth's leadership was too hostile and primitive to accept top-down salvation. The Pleiadians were forced to abandon their diplomatic approach and rebuild their strategy for human evolution. Rather than landing ships on the White House lawn, they launched the Starseed Protocol. This subversive strategy involves Pleiadians incarnating directly into human bodies, bypassing earthly governments entirely to elevate human society from the inside out. This massive undertaking is driven by a singular philosophical truth: all life is immortal. They view every soul, human or otherwise, as an eternal fractal of a universal source energy. Because they view us as spiritual equals navigating a physical density, they maintain one strict rule for human interaction. They explicitly demand that we stop worshiping them as idols, angels, or divine saviors. Their vision for Earth is a future where humanity discards its competitive mindset, unifies its people, and earns a place alongside them in the Galactic Federation as absolute equals. The Pleiadians act as a cosmic mirror for our own potential. They refuse to swoop in and rescue us, choosing instead to show us the exact evolutionary path we must walk to save ourselves.